Get to college athletics, got a story to tell. Coach Wilson on the mic, making dreams swell. From 7 miles in the D to athletes worldwide, talking journeys, struggles, hustle, and pride. Get to college athletics, yeah, you be making it known. Every journey, every climb, they're never alone. Coach Wilson in the chair, straight from Detroit streets, bringing that 7-mile fire, no defeat. He's got athletes talking about the.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 8. We are here with
Avery Hjelmstad.
Avery. Thank you for joining the podcast. Really appreciate it. Another hooper, another hooper during basketball season that's taking out the time. So we really appreciate it. She's a 4-star according to ESPN. So we're really glad that you're here, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So you're committed to the University of Utah, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so before we get into that, we're going to go into your background a little bit first. So where are you from?
Not many people know this, but I'm from Minot, North Dakota. I was born there and lived there for about 4 years before I moved down to Edmond, Oklahoma. My entire basketball career has kind of started in Oklahoma. I played AAU and started in about 3rd grade. Played with the Oklahoma Swarm and then transferred over to another team called the Unity. Played with both of them for 5 years, it seems like, I think. And then, I have 2 older siblings, Carter and Lauren. My oldest sister is Lauren. She's 22. My brother is 20. He's the only one of the 2 that went on to play college basketball as well.
Okay.
But yeah, my whole family has played basketball in high school and college pretty much. And then, we're pretty competitive too, so.
Right. Sounds like it.
Yes.
So did you play any other sports besides basketball growing up?
I did. I was a softball player for a while. I played from I believe 1st grade until about 3rd grade when I had to pick between basketball and softball. I was first baseman. I was pretty tall back then, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And how tall are you now?
I'm 6'1".
Oh, okay. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why did you say you had to choose between the 2 sports?
I think just from a young age, I really wanted to pour all of my time and my efforts into a single sport. And, I was 8 years old, and I think going from basketball to softball practice every day was kind of hard, kind of tough on my mental and physical health. So.
Right. Were you always, a little taller than everyone else your age?
I was, yep.
Okay. So you went full time with basketball in about the 3rd grade, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So, but when did you realize that you could play not only in college, but when did you realize that you could probably go Division I?
I would say probably my 8th grade going on to freshman summer. I had a big growth spurt. I went from about 5'9" to 6 foot in couple months. I know Janai had talked about this, but she and other girls in my grade were getting offers, and there was camps and, rankings going out. And, I was among some of those top rankings, and, I could really see myself playing basketball in the future at a high level, and that growth spurt definitely helped. So.
Right. So, so you've always played AAU as well, right?
Correct. Yep.
So this is one of my favorite questions I like to ask everyone is, like I said, it's not about the coaches or the programs, just because it's different. The high school game, you play that game, then you have a practice, for usually for a couple of days, and then you go back, you play again. AAU, usually if you win or lose, you might get a little snack, but you're right back on the court again, right?
Yeah.
So which one do you prefer?
I would say I probably prefer high school basketball. I'm pretty organized. I like watching film. I like mentally preparing for the game. I like hanging out with my teammates. And I think with AAU, you're kind of separated. You all have to drive separately and travel separately to the games. And with high school, you're all together at all times. And it's 9 months throughout the year. In the summer, you're always together. And I think just those genuine bonds and relationships, form, and you can see that off the court and on the court.
Right. Nice. I actually, I know it's a personal preference, but I actually agree with you on that as well, because I've coached basketball, and I've always enjoyed, getting back into practice and getting better. And I think you're a little bit more competitive, when you're not going to have, 4 games in one day. That's just my personal opinion. So I actually,
1000%.
yeah, I like to go back and get better. And I think it makes you more competitive, but there's nothing wrong with AAU. It's a great way to get recruited, and it's a great way to get in, more and more reps. So that's for sure.
For sure, yeah.
So did you play varsity all 4 years going into high school now? Did you play all 4 years?
I did. I was blessed to start my freshman year. We had a very talented group of seniors and juniors when I was a freshman. And with that growth spurt and kind of with my shooting ability and quickness, I was able to pick up that starting spot, and I've been starting ever since. So
Okay. Tell everyone, what's your main position?
I'm a shooting guard. I'm 6'1", like I said earlier. I definitely am a 3-point shooter. That's everyone's scout on me. But I'm just a versatile guard. I can play anywhere on the court. I can defend anywhere on the court. And yeah.
Now, with your height, did a lot of coaches in your past try to put you down low or put you at a position where, maybe you were playing some forward, but you always knew that you were a two guard?
Yeah, I would say kind of throughout my like AAU teams, I always was, in that small forward to shooting guard range. There was always kind of somebody tall like me that was a little bit slower that had to play down low. But I was always able to shoot. I was able to run and play at the top of the press, and I was able to defend, which I think helped me not get pushed down too far into the 4 and 5. So.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So now we're in high school now. So right now, currently you're averaging 22 points, 7 boards, 2 steals, and 2 dimes. Is that correct?
Yeah, about 20 right now. 20 points per game, but
20.
yeah.
Okay. 20, it's
Mhm.
about 20. So I would say definitely, are you playing the entire game because I mean, you're filling up the stat sheet. So are you playing the entire game?
Pretty much. There's, times where we're blowing out teams that I won't play the fourth quarter, but yeah, pretty much the whole game.
Okay. All right. So before we jump into the actual when recruiting heated up for you, I do want to speak about because you have another really good player on your team as well.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you two start in the backcourt, is that correct?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So how is that playing with Miss Williams? Because we also had Miss Williams on the show as well,
Mhm.
and she's obviously going to Oregon. I
Mhm.
could not imagine being a coach and preparing to play against you two in high school. So how is that playing with each other?
Mhm. I think it's obviously very fun. People don't know how to guard us. If teams have two defenders, we do a pick and roll action. We play off of each other very well. She goes for the mid range, I go for that three. We're both good at rebounding. We both can play defense, and yeah, kind of like I said, we're 1-2 punch. Not many people can stop us.
Yeah, so are you guys seeing a lot of triangle and twos and face guard? Because when I spoke to her, she spoke about the face guarding and some boxing one stuff. And at the
Mhm.
time, I did not know you were on the roster as well. So are you guys seeing some triangle and two together? Like how is that working for because this has to be a nightmare for other teams.
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, we thought a lot of teams would man us, and just, try their best to defend us. But they've been throwing, a lot of high, 3-2s, lots of zones at us to make us shoot and get our other players involved as well. And with that, we've lost a couple games, but we've had to, come back to the drawing board and, play off each other, hit each other, and, really work on our transition. And kind of like I said, she goes for the mid range, I go for the threes. And we've seen, a box and one, just kind of depending on who's hot, but no triangle and twos yet. So
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but I just know
exactly.
that, yeah, that would be a disaster preparing for that backcourt. But
Yes.
so so Oklahoma basketball right now, so we're
Mhm.
at the beginning of February. Are you guys in the playoffs or are you getting ready for the playoffs?
We're getting ready for the playoffs. We have 5 games left of our regular season, and
Okay.
then playoffs will start at the very end of February.
Okay. So in some states, like I'm here in Michigan, no matter your record, you go to
Hmm.
the state tournament for basketball. How is it in Oklahoma? Does everyone get to go to the state tournament, or is it based off of how you did during the year?
Um, Seedings are based off of how you did during the year, but we'll have our first week of playoffs is called regionals, where we'll play teams in our conference, and obviously, the number one seed will play the lowest seed, and then from there it'll go into area, which is kind of our whole state, outside despite of conference, and then after that we'll go into state, and only 8 teams make it to state.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
good luck and
Thank
ending the
you.
season. I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
now what we always like to at Get to College Athletics, we really love the recruiting process, right? And we
Mhm.
like to hear everyone's journeys and stories. So when did your recruiting process heat up for you?
I got my first offer my sophomore summer, I believe, right before my sophomore year. Um, it was, a low mid-major D1 school, um, McNeese State in Louisiana.
Okay,
From there, I had a couple D2s, and kind of like I said, a lot of other girls in my grade were getting, tons of offers. And um, my sophomore summer of AAU, which would have been the next summer, I, had picked up Kansas, Colorado, Oklahoma State, just lots of high Power 5 schools. And, it was confusing at first. It was nerve-wracking. I didn't really expect it because, at that point, there's a lot of girls who had 30 offers already. And um, but I had that growth spurt. I had some good teammates. I had a good AAU team. I was in the right spots. I wasn't on an EYBL team or
okay,
a 3SSB team. I was on an independent team at the time. And, I wasn't at the best tournaments, but I was able to find coaches, and I had to email some people. I had to reach out. I had to go to elite camps, and I really had to, work to get some eyes on me. I had to pay for some highlight tapes and to get that sent out to people. And I think that might have been different compared to other people's journeys in Oklahoma. So,
great.
mhm.
Okay, so how many official visits did you actually take?
I took 3 official visits.
Okay,
My first one was to Colorado. My second was to Utah, and then my third was to Oklahoma State.
okay,
But I took, I think, 10 plus unofficial visits. So I traveled a lot.
okay, okay.
Hmm.
So you went to, you said Colorado first.
Correct. Yep.
I gotta ask, did you have a chance to see Coach Prime?
He was out of town that weekend, but I
Okay.
got to sit on his, gold, his gold, his gold car and everything. It was awesome seeing that.
All
So
right. So yeah, I always I had to ask that one.
that's funny.
So why Utah? Because you committed to Utah,
Mhm.
you went to Colorado, and you said you said Oklahoma State, right?
I did. Yep.
So you went to all those schools and you said, I'm going to Utah. Why?
I would say if you watch any Utah basketball, they put up a lot of threes. They average a lot of assists per game. They play very well together. It's definitely a fundamental type of basketball. Um, I think my very first thought was that I fit into the system very well. The culture of the team, from the players to the coaches to the fans, was all very genuine. I never felt any pressure to commit early or to, come out to see them 5 times before committing. They didn't pressure any phone calls and didn't make me seem like I had to call them or, had to call them at a specific time even. So it was very genuine. Salt Lake City is a beautiful place. The campus is right under the mountains, and it's a Power 5 school. It's in the Big 12, so I'll be able to come play back home in Stillwater, and my family can come watch me. So yeah.
Right. So yes, I do want to ask because me and Miss Williams talked about this part as well of leaving the
Mhm.
state of Oklahoma. So now, they lose Miss Williams to another
Mhm.
school and they also lose you. So how do you feel about not going to an Oklahoma school?
I think for me, I really wanted to spread my wings, and Oklahoma is a great place. Lots of good basketball here. Obviously, I live 40 minutes from Oklahoma State and 40 from OU, so it was a tough decision not going and staying in Oklahoma. But I think, kind of like I said, I wanted to spread my wings. I really wanted to, um, advance my possibilities as much as possible, and Utah, that just might be the place for me.
Right. So did you and Miss Williams ever talk about, hey, maybe teaming up, or you guys kind of just did your own kind of recruiting thing?
Yeah, I think kind of like I said, after my, sophomore year, I really started picking up those offers, and a lot of them were offers that she already had. And so we talked a lot about, different playing styles and coaching styles and, where we'd eventually want to go. And I think I remember her talking a lot about Oregon. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can go that far, but we did talk about Oklahoma State a lot, and I think we went to a game there once together, and yeah, I think it was just maybe not as much playing together, but just figuring out what was right for each other and whether that was playing together or not. But she ended up committing a little bit before me and narrowing down her choices before me, and just didn't end up playing or picking the same school. So
Right. Okay. Well, hopefully you
mhm.
guys get to play each other at some point
Yes.
before you leave. And so do you have a future goal of wanting to play in the WNBA, or you just want to get your degree and start another career?
The whole main goal is to go to the WNBA. That'd be amazing. But if that does not plan out and play out right, I want to be a real estate agent and stay in Salt Lake City. So
Oh, wow. So you're destined for Salt Lake City.
that's the plan as of right now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, that's good. It must feel like home to you. So that's always
Yes.
good, right? Because you sound like you have a close family. So
Mhm.
that's good that you're going somewhere that you're comfortable with, right? Because you're not going to be able to see the
Yes.
same faces every day. So that's great.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So we want to end it on this. What advice would you give to anyone that's going through the recruiting process? Any regrets you may have, or
Mhm.
some things that you wish you would have done different. Just any advice to the athletes coming behind you.
Yeah. I would say my first piece of advice is about the transfer portal. I know in this day and age, a lot of people hop in and out of it and can get tied up in it really easily. And for basketball specifically, a coach can recruit someone coming into your spot. They can tell you to transfer. And I think that should be something that you players should look at before committing to a place. Um, One thing for Utah was they didn't have many people transfer out, which means that the girls enjoy being there. The girls like the coaching staff and the playing style, and it's a positive environment. Whereas, some schools might have 5, 6, 7 people leaving every year. So you have to look at that, and I think I did a good job of that during my recruiting process. I would also say I wish during my recruiting process that I limited some of the phone calls and, times that I would call people. There is, I guess for us, it was June 1st that coaches could call us, and there was probably about 50 phone calls that day. And I wish I kind of would have spread that out and, you know, given some space to schools that I maybe wasn't as interested in, and just kind of had been straight up with them from the jump. So that is my piece of advice to those going through the recruiting process now or in the future.
And that's a wrap on episode 8. I just want to say thank you to Avery for coming on the show. I know she's getting ready for the state playoffs in Oklahoma. A couple things here. I know that there were some references to Miss Williams, her teammate. If you want to learn more about Miss Williams, please go back and check out episode 4. She's also a 4-star headed to Oregon. And I really honestly did not know those two were on the same team. And like I said during the podcast, that has to be a nightmare. So thank you guys for listening. I really do appreciate the support. Talk soon.
Get to college athletics, got a story to tell. Coach Wilson on the mic, making dreams swell. From 7 miles in the D to athletes worldwide, talking journey, struggles, hustle, and pride. Get to college athletics, yeah, you ain't making it known. Every journey, every climb, they're never alone. Coach Coach Wilson in the chair, straight from Detroit streets, bringing that 7 Mile fire, no defeat.